This is Christian Light Education's Reading 5, Open Windows. It's an 80-lesson, 5 light unit course that beautifully complements their language arts program. A common misconception is that CLE only teaches basic reading comprehension. It covers so much more. Today, I'll show you the lesson structure, the 5 light units, the reader, and the teacher manual. Let's look at this example from 501. Lessons begin with vocabulary. Students look up words like detour and lithe in the back glossary and match them to definitions. There's also a word focus section for unfamiliar story words. Each story spans 2 lessons. In the next lesson, they reread the story to answer inference and conclusion questions. This builds deep critical thinking, not just fact recall. Next, they tackle figures of speech, learn a KJV Bible verse, and learn this vocabulary like the word adversity. Finally, they review their main vocabulary words through synonyms, antonyms, original sentences before writing out their memory verse. Next, let's quickly go through the next 4 light units so you can see what's ahead. I want to give a quick disclaimer. You may hear some unfamiliar literary terms in this next section. If you don't know what they mean, don't worry. The curriculum teaches these concepts so clearly and gradually that your child will learn them naturally. It's also important to use the placement test for this course. For reading, CLE recommends your child take the Language Arts Placement Test. Light Unit 502 teaches skills such as using context to determine word meanings, identifying onomatopoeic words, learning about nonfiction, biographies, autobiographies, and even dialect. Light Unit 503 covers skills like identifying the parts of a cause and effect relationship, identifying iambic rhythm in poetry and imperfect rhyme, and identifying alliteration and recognizing free verse. Light Unit 504 includes identifying the conflict of a story and distinguishing between internal and external conflict, identifying idioms, and matching paraphrases with original statements. In Light Unit 505, children learn about plot diagram, learn the definitions of the roots fawn, rupt, and scrib or script. They learn to distinguish between circumstantial evidence and proof, and to identify an epigram. Next, let's look at the reader itself. It is a compact, hardback book under 300 pages, which is manageable for a year-long course. CLE intentionally keeps this curriculum light, so your child has plenty of time for independent reading outside of school. The selections include character-building fiction, biographical and historical fiction, poetry, and Bible-themed stories. Some stories are quite short. For example, the story In or Out is only 3.5 pages long, and like many lessons, it finishes with a short poetry study. Other selections are longer, like In Spite of War, which spans just over 8 pages. And also ends with a poem. A few stories, such as George Makes His Way, are long enough to be split into 2 parts, meaning your child will work through them over 4 lessons instead of 2. Now let's look at the teacher manual. The CLE teacher manuals have been vital to me as a homeschool parent. I always buy them because they make my job so much easier. Let's look at Light Unit 503, Lesson 1, Zambezi Crisis. The objectives for the lesson are listed, as well as the class preparation steps. Here it instructs the teacher to have a map of Southern Africa available, along with a dictionary. Knowing this information beforehand prevents you from scrambling for materials. Then there's an introduction to the story. This section gives a brief biography of David Livingstone, so children have background information about the missionary featured in the story. It also prompts the teacher to use the map to show the river that serves as the setting. Additionally, there are reduced pages of the student workbook to make checking work quick and easy. Here it outlines how to teach the concept found in the student's LightUnit teaching box. In this lesson, the children are learning about dictionary use. This comprehension information box is immensely helpful because it tells you exactly what page of the reader contained the answers to the comprehension questions. This box has come in handy numerous times when my child didn't know where to find an answer or wanted to understand why an answer was marked wrong. Finally, this gray box contains optional story activities, in this case, learning to start a supervised fire or reading a complete biography about David Livingstone. The teacher manual also includes alternate tests, which I often use for test prep if my student needs extra review. It has flashcards, it has reproducible bookmarks and checklists, and it even has suggested books for further reading. That is my complete overview of this program. We love CLE reading and expect to continue using it every year. I hope this has been helpful to you. Have a blessed day.